Happy weekend here in Mr. Smith Garage. Wanted to give you kind of a recap of what I discovered on the last video. You can see that in my video series on Lars, the Eurovan 2002 Eurovan VR6 24 valve. I realized as I was working on this yesterday, I was turning the crank, the pulley side, I was turning it counterclockwise versus clockwise. And in doing so, I noticed with a friend here that we were skipping a tooth here. It's out of time right now. I don't think it was out of time when I was using the starter. My friend Tim let me use his scope, his little camera, go down into the cylinders. I realized that right now, I don't think I have to take the head off yet, but I definitely need to take the timing stuff off because I don't want to be moving stuff around, having the cam move and hitting the valves. So I'm gonna show you some pictures in this video, what looks like on each cylinder. I did notice there's a spot where cylinder number 4 has the carbon on the piston and the carbon on the valve have been removed. And I think that's probably where, when I was turning the crank clockwise, I wasn't forcing it, so I don't think I've damaged the valves at all. I just know that that's where the carbon tipped, the valve of the carbon on the valve actually hit the carbon on the piston, and it's got a clean spot. Not really sure which one to take off first, but I think we'll just start somewhere. And then this one's a little smaller size. Looks like I don't have to take that one off, actually. Look at that. I am getting some broken pieces. Aha. There we go. Just loosened it. So was that a broken piece or was that a piece of carbon? Oh, it is a broken piece from the back here. So just starting to break. Nothing that would have really impacted it. Let's see if what this grooves look like. Hoping you can kind of see really grooved. I don't have a new one, so I don't know how grooved they're supposed to be, or if it's supposed to be completely flat. Looks like this guy, oh, it's got some chips here, which might mean chain slap a little bit. I'm gonna put these back in so I don't lose them. Okay, so there's one chain. This little chain off, and this little tensioner. Worn. But not broken. This one. That one's a tough one. I'll throw a few WDs on here. A little bit of brake clean. That one is not doing well. Okay, because I can't seem to get a good fit on this Allen, I'm going to use this little tool used to get the hard. There it is. Because that was for sure gonna strip out. Okay, that's getting replaced. You need to take these guys off. Trying to do more light today. I noticed that my video yesterday was pretty dark. There was the broken one here. I'll try and figure out how this one comes off. I think I have to take this off, huh? To get this one off? Probably. That's the oil pump. 15 looks good. Well, okay. Interesting play on torque. So I didn't want the crank to move because I still have, oh, I don't have the cam gear set up. Okay, I guess it would have been fine to move the crank. I just don't want to have any valves hit the pistons any harder than they have to, so. Okay. There's the other chain. There's the other piece of broken guide. Let's take a look at this gear. These don't look too terribly worn, at least not to me. They are worn on the outside, like the chain was moving around a little bit on there. Tell me what you think. Would you replace those or would you just leave them? I guess some people would say it probably depends on if you're selling it or not. Those are pretty teethy. Teeth on these cams look okay. All right, that may be where I get to today. I was going to do some shots of inside the cylinder, so let me do that. Okay, so what I've done, I've used this scope camera from my friend Tim to make sure that my cylinders are all far enough down that I can move my cams so that they'll be set for #1 top dead center. Trying to be extra careful. I'm trying not to have to take the head off. Make sure that they're far enough below that when I turn the cams, opening the valve is not going to hit the piston. Okay. So my cams are set. So the real question is am I going to be able to get the crank set to top dead center without hitting a valve and without taking the cams off? So that's what I'm trying to do, is make sure that I can not take the cams off and get the crank to where I need to be, #1 top dead center, and the cams to where they should be for me to put the chain back on. Those valves are fully open. Those are closed. Just circle. Just there. And that was fully open. Those are fully open. And those are closed. Those are closed. Those closed. Those are closed. Okay, sorry, I had a thought to ponder there. So I think, so now it's fine to be able to move the cams where I want them to be, but I do think I need to pull them off so that the valves aren't depressed while I'm moving the crank around. Because if I move the crank around and the pistons have to go through their cycle, they're going to hit the valves that are open, because I've got several valves that are open right now in the position that they're in. So I do think I need to take off the cams, basically take them off, put them down, check the cam bearings, which they should be fine. Everything looks pretty well oiled. I'll put some startup lube in there, put it back together. Before I put it back together, I'll put my crank to number 1 top dead center. Then I'll put the cams back on and everything should be fine. At least that's what I think we're gonna do. Thank you for joining me. If you like what I'm doing, again, this is pretty random. Mr. Smith Garage, primarily I've got some Volkswagens that I work on. I do have a Porsche 944 that every once in a while you'll see. I've got a couple of older Vanagons. I also have worked on the T-Dos. They're XPs, 96 XPs that I've had for a few years. And I mean, we've gone through a whole series of pulling an engine, resealing the bottom crank seals for the oil sump area, and it worked. I don't have a series on the Xterra, but I have had off the Xterra, redid the timing chain on that. So that's why I thought I could get into this challenge and it wouldn't be too difficult. But whew, lots of complication here, Mr. Volkswagen, Germany. Lots of engineering. I'm trying not to take the head off. I think what we'll do next is, and this will probably be later this week, we'll pull the cams off, move the crank to TDC for number 1, put the cams back on, and then we're ready to order parts for, in fact, I could probably order the parts while I'm working on it, for the chain, tensioners, everything that I need, gaskets, water tube. I'm probably going to put a new aluminum tube on there for the water, the crack pipe. Water pump seems pretty good. I think I'm going to leave that as is. It's pretty easy to access if I need to do the water pump. We'll probably get gears. Anyway, thanks for joining me, Mr. Smith Garage. Appreciate your support. And if you like what we're doing here, continue to like and subscribe. Send a question out to me. Let me know what you want to know. All right.